Hey, this is Eyes on Smash Bros Radio, your Dutch uncle. How the hell is everybody? It's Friday. It's time to get freaky and what? Naked! Yes, Lord. Hey, if you have not done so, please like, follow, share, and subscribe to Smash Bros Radio. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, as well as TikTok. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you. As for Oz, your Dutch uncle, you can find me on the same, You can find me on Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, as well as Facebook. So if you have not done so, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Know that Smash Bros Radio is the only independent digital award-winning radio station located in Pleasant Grove, Birmingham, Alabama, Jefferson County. So we appreciate you stopping in today. We're going to be talking about some banks today. I'm getting somewhat upset with the negligence, with the intolerance, and with the incompetence of PNC Bank. I don't like the way that they are treating my mom. And so we're going to talk about that. And hopefully something can be done because I'm getting tired. So, but had been doing my 4-mile walk, so I have gone from 220 to 198, and now I weigh 195 because of walking. So if you have not started, please start investing in yourself, in your health. It is the best thing for you. You'll be surprised at how well it will help you mentally as well as physically and spiritually. So please, whatever you can do to help yourself, please do so. Yesterday, I was doing my walk, and I was on the 3rd mile going into the 4th mile. And I saw 2 $100 bills in my neighbor's yard. I saw 4 $100 bills in the street. So that's $600. I was like, wow, God bless me. I can pay on some bills. Well, needless to say, when I went to my bank to deposit the $600 into my account, it was counterfeit bills. And so the branch manager, Kendra, the Roebuck area, came to the drive-through window, and was saying that it was counterfeit and that she was going to have to confiscate it. I said, oh, good, because I don't want it back. And then what really pissed me off was the way that she looked, like you didn't know it was counterfeit. And I was thinking, bitch, please, how in the fuck am I supposed to know that this damn money is counterfeit? And I said, no, ma'am, I didn't. And then she had that, like, really? And so she was saying that I asked, do I need to come in? And she said, well, you can, but I'm going to do a report. So I explained the situation, how I was able to, that I found the $600. And so I went on my way. But then I started thinking, if she's writing a report, how is her narrative going to be written? Because you know that you can write how the situation occurred, what transpired, but it can be written in a way that it would have a twist. And so I thought about that. And so on my way back from the doctor's appointment, I stopped by and I asked the young lady in drive-through who the lady was, what her position was. And she stated that she was a branch manager and that her name was Kendra. So my main concern was the narrative. How was a narrative going to be written, and what tone was a narrative written? Which brought to mind that when we do things, when we write things, or how we read things, how we perceive things, may not always be the way that it was, especially when you're reading from someone else's opinion. And so that's why it took me back, and I'm wondering how many individuals would have known that the money was counterfeit. So I called my attorney to ask, do I need to go by the police station and file an incident report? And he laughed at me and was saying that no, because if you were a professional counterfeiter, you would not deposit the money into your account, which is true. And he said that, and if the officers should come up, just tell them to contact me. So that's one good reason why you should always have an attorney on standby, and that's why you should always have friends who are in law enforcement to give you some advice. Because I called a very good friend of mine to ask, and they told me the same thing. But I was wondering how many of us would know that the money was counterfeit, because I didn't see. Well, really, I didn't pay attention. All I knew was it was $100 and it had the face of Washington on it, and so I didn't pay attention. I wasn't going to scrutinize the damn bill. Shit, I thought that God had blessed me with $600, which meant that I could put that money on other bills and probably get ahead. But it kind of took me back the way now she remained professional. She remained professional. It was just her mannerism, which brings to point two. Sometimes it's best that when you are handling a situation, sometimes it's best to do it in person. So then that way you can read exactly the expression, the body language of the individual. Because when you're on the telephone, you do not have this, privilege of knowing exactly what's what. Because you could be on the phone and the individual on the other end could be laughing or could be, doing something that's just, out of the way. So, and then I was wondering, but my attorney was telling me that if you had gone to a store and you had bought some stuff with that money, then there's a possibility that there would have been more trouble. So I never thought about going to the store. Whenever I get money, I always put it in the bank, so then that way I can use my debit card. So it's just the narrative. How did she write the narrative? So we will see, and I will let you know exactly what is outcome, if there is an outcome. But my good friend that's in law enforcement and my attorney both told me that there shouldn't be any problems. And if there is a problem or concern, an issue, I'm to contact my attorney and he will handle it. So that is how my Wednesday was. And I'm wondering, why is it always me? Why am I always the one that's in this? Lucy and what was Lucy's? Vivian, not Lucy and Vivian. So, sometimes you always, as a former teacher, I had a lot of history and a lot of anecdotes and stuff. So I don't need to add anything more to what has already occurred, especially with what I've done. So it is what it is. So I don't know what is going on with these banks. I don't understand the attitudes of these banks. I know that the customer service is not that of what it used to be a long time ago. There was more professionalism. There was more attentiveness. There was more due diligence. But it seems that when these banks have been bought out by other banks, because I think, PNC is either the third or fourth bank. I can't even remember what the original bank was, the initial bank, because the initial bank was bought out by a bank. And then I think they were bought out by a bank, and then PNC came up to buy out that bank. So you had the buyout of all these banks, to which now they have become these huge ass banks. And I don't think sometimes big is better, especially when it comes to customer service. So what initially started out was that my mom went to get a fixed interest rate, a lower interest rate when it came to her equity line of credit. And now my mom and this is the fifth year since my dad has passed. And so my dad and mom were actually, what you call it, can't think of the word. They were matched. And you would have never thought that that an individual from Oklahoma raised on a farm who had a sheltered life would meet this gentleman of one of the elites of Montgomery. Mama was raised in Oklahoma on a farm. She was very much protected by her dad. Her dad was a very educated man in his own right because he knew the importance of having an education, and he made sure that his daughter received the education and was self-sufficient and independent, that she would not have to rely on a man. So Mama came from a sheltered life already. And then, if I can get this right, this is Mama's second marriage, and this was Daddy's third marriage. So then after she divorced, she moved back home, and she went out with her mom, and that's how she met my dad. And Dad's family were the individuals that owned Allerger syrup, which is Alabama, Georgia syrup, Allerger syrup. And back then we had Whitfield pickles, and anyone raised in Alabama pretty much knew about Allerger syrup and Whitfield pickles. So that's where my dad's family comes from. So they were so mixed match, soulmates. So that's how they became together, and they were soulmates. So Mama and Daddy were together for over 45 years, and Daddy protected Mama, was very protective of Mama. Now, the way that I met what I classified as my godmom was in 88, I was started teaching. In 89, they closed some schools, and my mom was a math teacher. She was across, so she became my mentor teacher, even though, and I had two mentor teachers. I had my mom across the hall from me, and then I had Mrs. Nettie Matthews upstairs, who was a sixth grade teacher. So see, I had two mentor teachers. So Mama and Daddy are very selective and very isolated when it comes to individuals. They do not allow everyone to come over. And there's so much as so far, I guess the loners like myself, because I don't allow everyone to come over to my place. Very, very few. So when my mom, who had a liver transplant, was starting to have trouble, Joanne came in, who I call my godmom, and she was there and she helped me. So I consider her a godmom because I figured that God blessed me with Joanne. So that's why I call her my godmom and my mom. Same way when it comes to Vanderbilt Wolf. Van was worse than Joanne. It took me 5 years to gain the confidence of Van to allow me to come into his workshop. So when he invited me to come in to help him do something in his shop, I knew that I had made it to the mountaintop, because he was very difficult in getting to know. So that's how it about. So Joanne went to PNC Bank to get a lower rate, interest rate, on her equity line of credit. And we thought that everything was fine. So when she went up there to sign the papers, they had foolishly put the loan in Van's name, and that it was not even supposed to be in Van's name. And I think that was only 3 years or maybe 4 years since Van has passed away, because my mom has not really completely mourned the loss of Van. So that kind of set her back, and I checked, I said that, well, that's one flag. So she had to go back, and initially they told her that it was going to take some time, and I was wondering, how is it going to take some time? All you have to do is just remove his name and put your name. But I'm not in banking. I don't understand. But and then since technology and since everything's on the computer, I think that the banks use that as an excuse to prolong stuff. And I actually think that the banks are drawing interest off of the money that is deposited to them before they deposit it to you. So that was one red flag. So everything was fine with that. And then about 3 months ago, I think it was, my mom was close to being scammed for $9,000. Now, she's very embarrassed about it, and rightfully so, because she's not that type to be scammed, if you know what I mean. But she realized exactly what was going on, so she called me. So we go up to PNC Bank in Cahaba Heights, and there's a gentleman by the name of Mark. Now, initially, Mark was trying to tell my mom that he couldn't handle it, but Mom said, "No, you're going to talk to me." So this Mark already has an attitude, a nonchalant attitude. I don't wish to be bothered attitude. Why are you bothering me attitude? So we go in. Mom explains the situation. Now she has a $9,000. So she redeposited the $9,000 back into her account, which was the equity line of credit. Now, supposedly, everything was supposed to be handled correctly. So they redeposited the money back into her account, and they put up an extra security so that way there would be more protection to her account. Well, sometime later, she finds out that the $9,000 that was supposedly put back into her account, another account, equity line of credit, was established at a higher rate. And so they were taking the money out for the second account. So that's another frustration. Now you have to understand, I see a change in my mom. I see that she's moving slower. I see a change in her. And then with all of this stress that she's getting from a bank that's supposed to know what they're doing, isn't helping her much when it comes to her mentally, which in turn physically. So we had to go through the process, or she had to go through the process to rectify that I didn't do this. Somebody set this up, which was Mark. He did not do what he was supposed to have done when it was filling out the paperwork with the $9,000. He's incompetent. He's pathetic. And I think that he should be fired. So we try to handle that. So supposedly that was handled, and she received money back that was paid and all. We don't know yet. We're just hoping. So then last week, she received a letter from PNC Bank saying that her house is about to be foreclosed on. Now, my mom and dad were never late on any payments. Their credit score is 850. Now, who in the hell has an 850 damn credit score? But that's what they have. Their credit score is 850. So she calls the number, because initially I thought it was a scam. But she called the 800 number, and the gentleman looked over her account and was saying that he doesn't see where that's possible for the foreclosure, that there was an error on their part, PNC Bank's part. So he was going to write a formal complaint. So I told Mom that she needed to get in touch with her son and let her son handle it. And I understand my mom wants to remain independent. And I understand that. I understand the importance of her wanting to be independent. But that's why you have a son who is capable of handling the situation. Because, see, Lewis won't play. Lewis will not play. He will go in there like a bulldog, like a pit bull, and he will handle the situation. Or he would just tell the bank, listen, I just pay the damn thing off and fuck you. Because Lewis is a professional photographer, and he has his own studio out in California. And so some of the pictures that you see in some of these restaurants are Lewis's pictures. Because from what I understand, he has this huge portfolio of pictures, and companies go through this portfolio and they choose different pictures that they want to either lease or buy. So some of these pictures that you see in the restaurants in the menus are Lewis's pictures. So Lewis is Lewis got money. He's bought some acres out in Kansas that he's paid straight out. He owes nothing on the land. He owns nothing on the house or the houses that he's having built. But I can understand Mama not wanting to get in touch with Lewis in a way because she wants to remain independent. So, I can't do, that's out of my hand. I can't do anything. But I feel helpless in that I'm somewhat stepping out of my lane now telling this story. But I don't know anything else to do other than to publicly blast PNC Bank for their negligence, for their incompetence. And then when she went back up, I think she went yesterday back to the PNC, the Caba Heights branch, PNC, the same gentleman was very rude, unprofessional, just typical Mark. And he gave, instead of dealing or handling or taking care of my mom, he gave her to Rachel. And from what I understand, Rachel has always been the competent one. But Mark is pathetic. Mark has this dry, non-human, unprofessional, incompetent, negligent mentality. And the branch manager isn't any better. And from what I understand, they're not from Alabama. They're from out of state. They don't have that professional courtesy that people from the South have. They don't have that friendliness. They have a coldness about them. So Mama had all of her paperwork, and so hopefully everything's been rectified. My main thing is, if the situation had been handled correct, and then plus two, I blast PNC Bank on my Facebook page, and then somebody from PNC Bank, KL and SM, I think it was, wanted me to private messages, so I did that. So they have asked me to give them my full name, my telephone number, and my address. Now I'm wondering, why in the fuck do you need my full name, my telephone number, and my address? Because I think at the end of my post blasting PNC Bank, I said that if anything should ever happen to my mom due to PNC Bank, I ain't scared of jail. So I don't know if that's a threat or not. I really don't. I really don't. But I'm not scared of jail. I'm not scared of jail. That's why I have a good attorney. Because that wasn't a threat. That was just emotion speaking, because I see a change in my mom. And I don't like this change. And then what has really bothered me the most is when my mom starts giving me her plants. That is a huge red flag for me, because my mom is into plants like I am, and she's had these plants for a long time. So for my mom to say that she can't handle the plants no more because they're big, and they're huge plants. So for my mom to give me her plants, that's a huge red flag for me, because Mama doesn't give plants away. Now, she may give you a piece of the plant, but she does not give the entire plant away. So I think that I don't know if this is the attitude. I don't know if this is common when it comes to PNC Bank, but the PNC Bank, the Cahaba Heights branch, I think is pathetic. I think is low down. I think that is incompetent. I think that is negligent. The professionalism is not there. The customer service is not there. And I think that something should be done to the staff of the Cahaba Heights branch PNC Bank. Because other than Rachel has, from what Mama has stated, Rachel has always been the most competent and the most helpful person at that bank. And even the teller, when I had the $9,000, the young lady, she was nice. But when it comes to Mark, when it comes to the branch manager, I think something should be done. I think they should be fired because the professionalism is pathetic. And I don't understand. I don't understand. I really don't. And I still think that Mama should get in touch with Lewis, and I think that Lewis should be told of the situation, and Lewis should and he's going to handle the situation. Now I've asked, or I have suggested that maybe she needs to change and get another account with another bank. But I don't know what bank is even more is competent. I'm with Regions Bank, and yes, I do overdraw sometimes, but I think that what's the word? The way that the computer is set up, I think that there's something in the way that is going to benefit the bank, because I've noticed that I thought that whatever goes through first should be paid first, but that's not how it goes, because they switched the arrangement. They switched the way, the order of when the payments are, and I think that they have equipped, or they have set up the way they do things, so that way if they put what's coming in a different order, it's going to automatically make you appear overdrawn. Because the way that I've noticed it, the way that they're not in order as the way that they came in. And I think there's something wrong with Regions Bank. And then you got, you had the problems with Wells Fargo. So I just think that the banking system, see, this is what happens when you have incompetence at the top. This is what happens when you have those individuals that you have voted into office that favors these bankers, that favors these financial institutions, and they give them what they want. Because I don't understand why I'm being charged an overdraft fee. I really don't. I don't understand how that hinders or how that hurts a bank because I have an overdraft fee, because you can't, I'm going to have to pay what's overdrawn. So why are you adding more to what I have overdrawn? So I think that overdraft fee should be outlawed. I think it's robbery. I really do. I think that it's robbery. I don't think that it's correct that the way that the banks are set up. I don't think that their customer service is adequate, that is proper, is correct. And I don't know of a bank that I really have any trust in. But you have to have them, or do you really? And why does it show a sense of responsibility if you have a banking account or if you have a savings account? Why is that a show of responsibility? How come I can't keep my money underneath the mattress? And you say, well, it's for safety purposes. Really? And the deposits, because I get paid, I have Social Security disability, and I'm supposed to be paid the fourth Wednesday of every month. Well, I received the Social Security the Saturday before the 4th Wednesday. So the money that is deposited, when is it deposited, and is Region Bank earning interest off of my money before they deposit it into my account? Now, I understand it's a corporation. I understand that you're supposed to make money. I understand that concept, but not off of my back, not off of my money. And especially if you charge me an overdraft fee. I think that's criminal. I think it's criminal. But see, that's what happens when we don't vote. That's what happens when we don't take the necessary steps to find out exactly who we are voting for. Now, see, here in Birmingham, we vote on popularity and legacy. We don't vote on the capability or the qualification. We vote only on popularity. If you're a family of preachers and we're active in the community, well, then you're going to be the same way. That's not true, because we've had an individual that comes from a long line of ministers that were active in the community, that have receipts to show that they were active in the community. So now we have this individual who does not have that same principle, that does not have that same standard, that basically is common knowledge that he's a hoe, that he's practically, or not practically, he's pretty much had sex with every female, but yet he was elected to his district because his daddy was a minister, his granddaddy was a minister, his great-granddaddy was a minister. That don't mean shit. The man's a hoe. He's a peacock. He's a pompous-ass peacock. He just wants the title. He don't want the responsibility. Same way when it comes to city council. We have 3 what I call name brands. And I call them name brands because their relatives, their families were active participants in the community, were city council folks who have receipts. These individuals don't have receipts. They are pathetic. They like these photo ops. And I still, on purpose, question what happened to the money that was allocated for the homeless during the World's Games. What happened to those materials that supposedly came up missing? What happened to that? Where's that money? Has it been found? Has it been accounted for? But see, that's what we do. We vote on popularity. Just because an individual has that charisma, just because that individual has that suaveness, that sweetness, that, yes, he's a good old boy and we love him, that doesn't mean that he's qualified for that goddamn job. Where are his receipts? And if he has a history of being a little pompous-ass sissy in all the other positions, what makes you think that he's not going to have that same characteristic, that same attitude when he becomes a mayor? As an example. So all of this, if you allow all this to get to you, it would make you crazy. And see, that's my main concern with my mom because of what PNC Bank is doing to her. She has a lot of stress on her, a lot of pressure. Because she's never been through anything like this. She's had a sheltered life. Her daddy protected her, sheltered her. Daddy protected and sheltered her. Now, Daddy knew that he was about to go. And so he started training. He started letting mama know a little bit more and doing more when it came to finance. See, daddy handled everything, but he knew that mama needed to be equipped to handle these things when he wasn't there or when he's not there. So she has it, but not to the degree of handling this incompetent bank. Mama's been in the house for over 45 years. How in the fuck are you going to send her a foreclosure? And you never sent her anything previous. All of a sudden, is there not a process? Aren't you supposed to send out some type of correspondence or something, letting them know that this is a possibility? But now you want to send out this foreclosure. And then all of a sudden you find out that it was a bank's fault. Apology isn't adequate. An apology is not adequate. Now my mentality is that once I get finished with the show, I may go over to the PNC Bank in Centerpoint. I don't know yet, but I know that I don't like what I see. I don't like the changes in my mom. That's what I don't like that. But I know that I have to stay in my place to a point. And if I did have Lewis's number, I would not call Lewis because that's not my place. And mama would be extremely upset with me if I were to do that. But I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should. I don't know what number to call. I don't know if I call the 800 number for customer service and explain the situation to see exactly who I could talk to make a formal complaint about the incompetence, the inadequacies. I don't know what to do. And I'm wondering, I'm sure that mama's not the only one that's having any type of difficulties with PNC Bank. She can't be. But I think that the branch over at Cahaba Heights needs to be changed. And I think new individuals need to come in, and the individuals need to be trained Alabama style. So these are the do's and don'ts when it comes to customer service. For you to have this attitude that nonchalant, don't want to be bothered, then you shouldn't be in banking. You shouldn't be in banking. So if by chance you know of anyone of any type of position or any type of power with PNC Bank, if you would forward this to them, I would deeply appreciate you, because I don't know what to do. I just don't like the way my mom is acting or reacting. My mom is 80 years old. She should not have to be dealing with this shit. She should be worried about working in her yard, playing with her pets, watering her plants, and just enjoying her life. But it's hard when I see a change, a drastic change. So, it's just one of those things. Just one of those things. So, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all stopping in. I hope that you've enjoyed the show. Please leave a comment. Let me know exactly what's what. Let me know, hell, you're boring as hell. You shouldn't be on the radio. Or, hey, I like your subject matter. I understand. Just leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. I would appreciate it, because I want to grow. I want to be better. It's supposed to be hot, extremely hot. I think there's a heat warning out. So please check on the elderly in your family, making sure that they are cool, making sure they have the necessities of being cool, making sure that they have the required liquids. Check on your pets too. Check on your children. Make sure that everybody is doing well in this heat. If you do not need to get out in it, please stay inside. Close up your windows, close your drapes, your blinds, make it as dark as possible. That's what that's how I was raised. When it got hot, they closed everything. Windows, curtains, blinds, shears. So I appreciate y'all. Again, if you have not done so, please like, follow, share, and subscribe to Smash Bros Radio, the only digital award-winning radio station in Pleasant Grove, Birmingham, Alabama. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. As for OZZz, your Dutch uncle, likewise, you can follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook. I'd like to hear from you. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves. Keep cool. Know your value. Know your worth. Know that you are the one that controls everything about you. And most importantly, know that I love you more than I love my luggage. I will see y'all Monday. Y'all take care. The live stream on the show. On the show. The live stream. On the show. On the show. On the show. The live stream. The live stream on the show.